This is the Paranormal Report.
Welcome to the Paranormal Report. I'm Jim.
And I'm Dar, and you're popping your peas in your mic again, Jim. How's everybody doing today? Happy April 1st.
Which is April Fool's.
Oh, April Fool's Day. But I have a big announcement. You see my black shirt? Big announcement.
Jim has a huge announcement today. As you guys have heard, things have been, kind of difficult around the Spooky Studio.
Yeah. So I made
Jim has made a very
major
big decision.
A major decision. I am going to become a paranormal investigator and leave the world of podcasting behind. My true passion to go out with meters and black shirts and kind of like, the tripod drops, and I go, what was that? That's been my dream for many years. You know how you'd keep denying something, you're in denial? Yeah. I've been in denial that I want to be a paranormal investigator. Maybe I even get a
Panera?
TV. Panera. Well, I've been a Panera investigator. That's kind of but the point being, all these years. Now, the only thing, they're not giving out TV shows anymore to paranormal investigators.
Shucks. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Can I be the editor and put all the fake sounds in? Because that would be really cool.
Well, no, wait a minute. That's not fair. I don't believe that all paranormal investigation shows
I didn't say all.
Are fake. I think they are over-dramatized. And by the way, if you didn't realize, that's a joke.
April
Fools!
No,
I'm not leaving because I am not leaving podcasting. One time, this is a dozen years ago. And I said I was going to quit one podcast I was doing. And somebody said, well, congratulations on your retirement. And I was like, in my in my not even upper 40s at that point. And I'm like, I am not retiring, because stuff gets twisted. If somebody watches this for the first minute, they're going to say, Jim Harold's becoming a paranormal investigator and retiring from podcasting. So I am not retiring from podcasting. It was an April Fool's joke.
The studio is struggling. That part's not a joke, but you're not going to investigate. Well, I don't think that would help.
I don't want to overstate it. I don't think we're in immediate danger here, but things have trended down. So we want to pick them back up.
You got rid of the host read ads.
Yeah,
and
that
has definitely hurt us.
Yeah.
You made that decision just because it wasn't really worthwhile anymore.
Not only that, this way we can get the Plus members ad-free new shows. I think that's important too. That was an important part of it as well.
That really helps.
That's why you should join the Plus Club, jimharold.com/plus, to get those ad-free new episodes. Not for this show, because this has no Plus component, but for the Campfire and the Paranormal podcast. So anyway.
There you go.
Anyway, so we're going to do something fun for April Fool's here, Dar. We're going to read 3 different stories. 2 of them are reported as absolutely true. 1 is a fake. And you be the judge which one is fake. At the end of the 3 stories, we will tell you. And I think the way to do this, Dar, is maybe just read like a synopsis, not the whole thing. Then we can circle back and read the whole story on the real ones. Does that sound fair?
Oh, okay. So we're going to go back and read the real ones?
Right. Yes. So what I would suggest, because I don't want to get the fake one out there and get it circulating and having people believe that it's real. So maybe 2 or 3 sentences from each one.
Sure.
And then we can reveal what's real and what's not, and go back and read the ones that are real.
There we go.
So ladies first, you begin.
Oh, thank you. Well, I have a story about a lady who was brain dead. She had no consciousness, and I think she couldn't breathe. She on her own, so she was breathing, with a machine, and the doctor said it was pretty bad, so that maybe you might want to make plans for her death. And so her husband's like, I think I'm going to bring her home to die. Mm. And on the way home, they were in an ambulance and they ran over a pothole, and miraculously she came back to life, and they kind of rushed her back to the hospital, and all was well.
Wow. That sounds fake. All right. Well, here's another one. Apparently, there's a new kind of ghost out there, Dar. It's a Zoom ghost. And reports of the Zoom ghost have intensified as users claim apparitions appear on screen. Dr. Elias Varnum said, in a world now dominated by digital communication, it is plausible that these presences are adapting using video conferencing platforms as a conduit. Actually, there's a new investigation team out there, the Zoom Paranormal Investigation Team, and it's head up by a gentleman by the name of Marcus Hale. And he says, this is the next frontier of paranormal investigation. We are going into Zoom calls, with permission, of course, and hunting ghosts. In fact, Zach, our tech expert, has invented a new ghost hunting webcam that detects Zoom ghosts with 98% accuracy. So a new way, and I'm assuming you could do it right from your house. You could do Zoom paranormal investigation into these ghosts.
That's pretty cool.
That are popping up. So, wow, that's pretty wild.
Pretty
It's
cool.
wild stuff. You've got another one.
Our last story, you determine if it's real or fake. A goldfish recently won a Guinness Book of World Records for driving.
Now, how does that work? That reminds me of Toonces the driving cat.
Well, maybe it's Blub. It's Blub. I'm sorry, Blub, the Italian fish.
You made this one up. I know you did.
For the greatest distance covered in a motion sensing vehicle. So apparently they put Blub in this, this engineer crafted this vehicle and it had a little water tank, and they put Blub in, and the movements, based on Blub's movements, the little car would go towards those movements. It was like motion sensing. And so Blub traveled like a whole 40 feet. And he broke the record, and it's very exciting. So he won the world record. The scientist doesn't know, how he's going to explain to Blub that he has a world record title now. But yeah. So
sounds fishy to me. Dar. Sounds fishy. So why don't we do this? Why don't we do them? Go back to the first story. And we'll tell people about that, and then we'll save whichever one is fake, we will save it for last. So everybody think about which one you think is fake.
What do you guys think? What do you think? Which one is fake? And I mean, it's so easy to do nowadays because, our buddy, my favorite friend, AI, helps with all kinds of things, doesn't it? So
don't believe everything you read, folks. Don't believe everything you read.
That's right.
Okay,
the first story was about the brain dead woman that was like jolted by a pothole and she came back to life.
Surely that's fake.
It's real. So it's from unexplained-mysteries.com. It happened in India. This poor 50-year-old woman was like, she became ill. They got her to the hospital, and they couldn't treat her condition. They said she was like brain dead and she was never going to recover. And the husband was distraught. He's like, and the doctor's like, I'm really sorry. You might want to make plans. And so he did. So they were in the ambulance on the way back home to let her die. And the whole ambulance went over this large pothole, caused a huge jerk, jolted everything inside. And it made such an impact that within seconds, the husband noticed she started breathing on her own. So they went back to the hospital, and she literally made a full recovery, was able to go home 2 weeks later. And they had no idea how it revived her brain functions. They just don't know. They said it's a total mystery. So
that is awesome.
I think it is totally awesome. Great story.
Well, that's the thing is I always worry about the whole being buried alive thing. I mean, I guess now with embalming, I mean, it's not.
Well,
really
yeah, then it's over, hon.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, once you're embalmed, you're not coming back. But the whole Saved by the Bell and the whole, they opened the coffin and they saw that the lining had been ripped.
That's scary. I wonder how much that probably happened.
It probably did
in history when
it's very sad, but I bet you it happened plenty of times.
They're sitting in the living room with the coffin and the dead body, and then all of a sudden the body was not dead, back.
Grandma's back.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to take the second true one now and leave the last one, the fake one for last?
We should. So guys, what do you think? You've got choice between the Zoom ghosts and the driving goldfish. So here's your chance.
Yeah,
what do you
one
think?
or the other.
What do you think? Yeah. Actually, the driving goldfish is real.
Ah! Yes.
It's from the New York Post. And he did, little Blub, and he is an Italian fish, and he did take hey, paisan, hey. Thomas de Wolf of the Netherlands crafted this 4-wheeled vehicle, and he just said his job is normally so boring, so he wanted to do something that would like entertain people, and it turned something serious into something fun. And he also wanted to show people like what's possible with the technology that we have, even when it's not something, serious, but it can play out to serious. So he's hoping one day he can like maybe help people that have issues walking, like mobility, maybe moving their arms. And he's hoping he can, use some of this technology. But yes, Wolf did create this little car with a water tank, and it's so cute. A little Blub. If you'd go one way, the car would move. And it moves side to side too. It was able so if Blub was going this way in the tank instead of back and forth, it was able to move. And he traveled a total of 40 feet and 3.46 inches to break the world record. So Salute, Blub.
Salute, Blub.
So there you go, our fake story.
So our fake story. Now, Dar can tell you a little bit about how she came up with it, and then how we tweaked it
I had AI
bit.
help me come up with it. And I hate AI, but I thought, you know what? I am not that creative sometimes, and I was under a time crunch, and I'm like, hey, give me some ideas. And he gave me some, and then Jim contributed his ideas to the story, which were absolutely great. Yeah, there's no Marcus Hale.
No, Marcus Hale. There's probably a Marcus Hale somewhere, but I don't know who he is, and he's not part of the...
What was the scientist's name?
Dr. Elias Varnum. Let me read some of this. Now, again, this is fake. This is not real. Not real. But listen to how real this sounds. It's actually better written than some stuff you'll see in the media.
Oh, it's scary.
Audio disturbances have also been reported. Users describe microphones activating without input, accompanied by faint whispers, distorted speech, or what some claim are attempts at communication. A handful of individuals say they heard their own names spoken during calls, despite no one else acknowledging it. Now, I love this part. Dr. Elias Varnum, a parapsychologist and founder of the Midwestern Institute for Anomalous Research, sounds real, right?
So real.
Believes the reports may represent a modern evolution of electronic voice phenomena. Historically, entities have used available technology, radios, tape recorders to manifest. In a world now dominated by digital communication, it is plausible that these presences are adapting using video conferencing platforms as a conduit. Now, I do actually believe... I do believe that...
It could happen.
We've actually had people on Campfire who have said like their computers have done weird thing. They have been texted, and I totally believe that's possible. And we're having a little bit of fun here, but it shows you AI. And then I threw in the quote about the webcam with the 98% accuracy. I thought that was really good. Zach, our tech expert.
Look at the interview you did with Fiona Dodwell on Paranormal Podcast. You guys were having those weird sounds.
Yeah, but I found out that was technically
but there was
feedback.
Another section people said was weird.
Nah,
so
I think it was all. And that's the thing. Hey, I'm a big believer in this stuff.
Well, it still could have been caused by the doll, because what's the doll? Chucky?
No, Chucky, that's the movie. That's a child's
I know,
play.
but what was her... Oh,
Harry? Harry? Was it Harry?
Harry. It was Harry.
But I mean, I'm the first one to say, hey, if there's a logical explanation, here it is. I'm not going to gin it up and say, oh, yeah, it was ghosts. But I do think that spirits and things can interact with technology, and we've seen examples of it. So, again, this is not making fun of anybody or anything, but sometimes I think anything in life you got to have a little bit of fun with. For example, we very much have fun with the UFO topic and make little jokes here and there, but I still believe it's all real. I think real stuff's going on. We've got a lot to say about that today. A lot to say.
We do.
But
so I hope you stay tuned, because we are doing real paranormal news now.
Yes. But we wanted to get that little April Fool's in. From here on out, the rest of the show, no April Fool's material. No
more fake. But you have to have some fun, because life is so short.
Exactly.
And you just have to enjoy things because there's few things many times to enjoy.
By the way, somebody was complaining that I interrupt you too much.
They say the same, that I interrupt you too much too. So, hey, it's equal. Equal opportunity interrupters, EOI.
So if I interrupt, just virtually smack.
I just talk over you, so that's why.
Well, tonight something very serious is going on. At least as of 12:30 p.m., the most recent story from CNN says that the Artemis 2 mission is going to lift off at Kennedy Space Center in Florida at about 6:24 p.m. ET. And there's 4 astronauts, and they're going to basically, sounds like they're going to slingshot around the moon and come back and get some incredible data for the ultimate, actually trip to land on the moon once again. This crew includes NASA's Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Koch, along with Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen. And I didn't know this, but they said that this mission could actually break the distance record set by the Apollo program, traveling further from Earth than any human ever has. That's from CNN.com.
Cool.
So I think it's cool. I think it should have come a little faster, and I'd like to actually see them land again. But
Artemis
this is
4,
neat.
they will land in, I don't know how many years. So this is Artemis 2. So they still have a 3 to go. And I guess they're going to be, I read something, they're going to be like testing different things on the spaceship and like if this is usable, if this works, if that doesn't work, and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and they actually said each piece of Artemis technology will also be a data point that architects of Mars missions will use. So I don't know if you and I will ever see a Mars mission, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see, and we wish the astronauts Godspeed. And
yes.
Yeah. And because, it is a risky thing to go to space, as we're going to find out from this next story.
Yeah. I don't know if everyone remembers. There was a mission on, the International Space Station, right? So they had members of the SpaceX Crew 11. It was Michael Fink and a couple other astronauts aboard, and so they were on ISIS, or they don't call it ISS. So they were on there doing their astronaut things. And remember, they had to bring him back early, that he had a medical mystery, a medical episode, and they're finally telling us what had happened. Apparently, he could not speak. So Michael Fink was in the laboratory. They were actually eating dinner. They had just done a trial spacewalk. They were like preparing for a spacewalk for the next day. And they were at dinner, and then all of a sudden, for 20 minutes, he could not talk. He said it was completely out of the blue. It was just amazingly quick. The crewmates saw he was in distress. They had all hands on deck. I'm sorry. So these were the astronauts: Zena Cardman, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Kimya Yui, Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Platonov. They did research on his health. I guess they have an ultrasound up there. And they also called flight surgeons back on Earth to find out like what they should be doing. So they said, you know what, we got to bring you home. And they brought him early. They brought him back early on January 15th. He said he feels fine, but medical mystery, they said they have no idea what was wrong, what happened to him at all. So he feels fine. But this kind of showing it that, when there's some kind of medical issues up there, sometimes, that's like a weakness that they need to work out. Like, what are they going to do? Personally, I don't know. I think they said it was not a heart attack. They ruled that out, but they didn't say anything about a stroke.
That's what I thought.
Well, I thought it was what they call a TIA. So those that don't know, it's a transient ischemic attack. You can have many of these little episodes prior to having maybe a big stroke. They're like mini strokes. Usually they present themselves with like slurred speech, or you have some temporary weakness in a limb. They're transient. They come on fast and they go fast. So personally, and I'm going to disclosure, I watched him do a little interview. I watched maybe a few seconds of an interview with him. I wanted to see how to pronounce his name. And to me, he had a pronounced labial droop. Mm-hmm. He might have had that prior. I don't know. I didn't look at anything that he
Right.
recorded prior. So I don't know. That might have just been standard for him.
Right.
To me, a little labial droop. I don't know. And then I'm wondering, the conspiracy theorist in me, is NASA not wanting to put that
Right.
out there that you can have a stroke by going out into space.
Well, here's a couple things I wanted to mention. This is actually a good time to mention is, I critiqued NASA a week or two ago and saying, are they really that good or anything? And obviously, if they can pull something like this off, they're good. I think more, and I kind of explained this in the comments on YouTube. Somebody said, actually, NASA's incredibly impressive, and in many ways it is. My beef is more with the administrators and their stonewalling on the UFO topic. And then somehow, sometimes how I think they try to obfuscate information to the public, kind of what you're describing with this. Of course, there's HIPAA issues and those they can't talk about certain things. But sometimes I definitely think, they're doing the PR spin thing. But I mean, they're going to be sending 4 people to the moon and back. That is pretty impressive. And again, I feel very similar about our astronauts like I do our military. God bless them and thank them for what they do. Because
absolutely.
I believe, I know a lot of people say that's a waste of money and those kind of things. And I'm like, no, I think personally, I think it's important to get out into space and to explore and do those things. I think it is important. And I think our next story will kind of speak to that a little bit further. We got to see what's out there.
Yeah. What's all that about, Jim?
Yeah. This is coming from an unexpected corner. A very prominent person out there has said, if you don't believe the aliens are here, you might be the conspiracy theorist. And it comes from none other than Bill Maher.
That's interesting.
And he says, not sold. Not sold on it, but open to the possibility. Look, my opinion changes when the information changes. And he said there was a time when the only actual contact we heard about aliens, and this is kind of nasty, was from rural people. By the way, I come from rural people, so that was kind of mean, who'd been abducted and anally probed. The audience laughs. But he said, you don't hear about that anymore. Why? My guess is the aliens gathered all the information they needed about us that they could get through our... But here's what he said. He said, they seem to want to be spotted. Why else this constant playing peekaboo with our military? And it's serious people now who are saying that they keep seeing things move through air and ocean in ways that defy our physics. Military pilots who say, yeah, I saw something doing Mach 10 and then it stopped on a dime and disappeared. That's not a drone. And he goes on to say, and the audience laughs and he's like, no, seriously, we don't know what the bleep these things are. But they didn't leak from a lab in China. So basically, he has really taken to heart all of this stuff. And he mentions people like serious people, in his view, Chuck Schumer, Harry Reid, Marco Rubio, Kirsten Gillibrand, Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. George W. Bush said, yeah, there are secrets about aliens, and no, I won't tell you. And then he just talked about what Obama just said. James Clapper, former intelligence director of national intelligence, So the point being that a lot of, quote, serious people are now doing it. And Bill Maher, I've always kind of viewed Bill Maher as kind of an establishment guy. Now, some people might not. I think right now Bill Maher is one of those guys who takes flack from both sides because he's always been traditionally associated with the left. But now he's taking some exception with things that the left doesn't. He takes exception with a lot of the things the right does. So it kind of offends both sides, which I kind of enjoy because
So if you guys watch that video, we'll have the link posted.
Yeah.
Don't get your undies in a bunch. He's making fun of everybody. He has a bunch of political jokes in there.
Yes.
But if you read between his jokes and read between the lines, he's basically saying, look, what was the best line, Jim, about the conspiracy?
I said it. I said, if you don't believe in it, you're the conspiracy theorist at this point. Yeah.
And that's the truth, right?
Yeah.
Come on. So he's basically saying, look, it's out there, guys. Stop. And this is not to be attributed to the kooks and the crazies anymore.
Right.
So
Right.
So
Although I
watch
didn't
the video.
appreciate the one thing, and usually I don't
he
get
said
angry,
a couple things about
Yeah.
hillbillies and
and it's like, come on, dude. But then again, I can't have it both ways because
but he's
I
not
think
wrong, Jim. That
I
was
think-
attributed
I
to
think-
people, rural people, because that stereotype that they are
But
stupid
I got to
and
say,
kooky. and,
if I say, well, you people get too easily offended, I can't get too easily offended.
well, that's
either,
right. You
so.
can't.
You can't have it
Get
both
over it.
ways, right? So, but anyway, I applaud him and I think there are a lot of people, who are like, oh, he's gone over the deep end. But I think it's great. One thing I don't think is great is this next story from the Daily Mail. And yeah, conspiracy theorists unite because, boy, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, maybe it's a duck or maybe it's a dead scientist.
I don't know. We've mentioned this, and I don't know if it was last week or the week before. I mentioned how you didn't hear about some of these scientists who've disappeared because we're talked about. Is it General McCaslin? I don't remember his military title. General Neil McCaslin's missing.
Yeah.
He still hasn't been found. And then I think it was last week we talked about one of his colleagues that went missing like the year before. Well, this great article from Daily Mail, and people make fun of Daily Mail, but nobody else is reporting about this. Why? Because this is the title: Mystery of Scientists Dead or Missing Rises to 8 as 2 more men tied to America's most coveted secrets join the list. So this article goes through all the missing scientists, right? So July 4th, 2024, a NASA scientist, Frank Maywald, he died at 61 years old. No cause of death ever been given. No autopsy was ever performed. And it was just, people said it was very mysterious because he didn't have any medical issues, supposedly. And I'm not saying that you can't just die naturally when you get to a certain age. You could. But he had been a prominent researcher at the space agency's Jet Propulsion Laboratory since 1999. And he worked on a bunch of projects tied to like satellite technology that could scan Earth and other planets. He was the lead researcher on a breakthrough that could help future space missions direct clear signs of life on other worlds. So he was a big shot principal. He was he was a JPL principal, and that was only an award given to scientists making outstanding individual contributions in their field. And he just died, and nobody kind of knows why. Another guy, Anthony Chavez, he was a former employee at the Los Alamos National Laboratory. That's one of America's key nuclear research facilities. He retired in 2017, but he vanished on May 4th of 2025. Very interesting. He was 79. No new info on how he's missing. Been missing for a year. This is what I thought was kind of interesting. He was last seen leaving his home in Denver, right? He left his car locked in the driveway, didn't take his wallet, keys, or any personal items, including a phone.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, right? And he was a hiker, but he wasn't dressed for like a long outdoor walk and didn't have his phone in case of an emergency. Come on. Somebody that intelligent's not going to leave their phone behind, right? He was also doing a lot of high security nuclear lab experiments and projects. And then Melissa Cassius, 54, she was supposed to have security clearance for sensitive information at that same Los Alamos lab. She vanished without a trace. Similar circumstances 2 months later. And it goes through all these other people. And then it finally talks about the 2 scientists that I was talking about, the one that was shot outside of his home in Brookline, right? It talks about the Monica Reza that we talked about last week. There's another man, an astrophysicist, Carl Grillmayer, 67, was killed at his home in February of this year. He was shot on his front porch. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And we know the other one was in Massachusetts, right? In Brookline. So, and he was shot. So, right? And then they said there was a pharmaceutical researcher that was testing cancer treatments at Novartis, and he was found dead in a lake just on St. Patrick's Day.
It's weird. I mean, it's weird.
You guys can form your own opinions, whatever about it, but I find that very suspicious. I do. I'm sorry.
It is suspicious. The thing is that I just hope the best for these people and their families. I mean,
how gut-wrenching,
I mean, one thing about these stories, and it kind of came up with the McCausland thing, and certainly I think it's suspicious to me, but you also have to remember the families too. So, you try to be sensitive when you're talking about these things. These are real people with real families, and we wish them the best. And we hope that some of these people are found, but it doesn't sound real promising, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's actually very, very sad. And it's, again, there's, it's kind of like too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence. That guy left without his stuff. McCausland left without his stuff. That Monica, she was on a hike and she was seen, and then she was with 2 other people.
Yeah, that was weird. She just disappeared. Yeah. Very odd. Very odd.
So if it's not like, I don't know, government, is it aliens taking
I'm not saying
people?
It's aliens, to quote somebody out there.
I'm not saying it's aliens.
Georgia.
No, I don't know. It's just something that makes you go,
Well, when it comes to aliens, we have nothing to worry about because J.D. Vance is riding in on a white horse to the rescue, and he says he's going to get to the bottom of it.
Let me just say thank you, Denny. She put this on Virtual Campfire Group, so check that out. It's free.
Thank you,
join.
Denny.
We're We're almost up to 4,000 members. I think.
Yeah.
So
virtualcampfiregroup.com. Virtualcampfiregroup.com. Be there. It's free. It's cool. Be there.
Right. So Denny said, "Oh, JD Vance came out with this. I hope you talk about this on TPR." And I said, "Well, we did talk about this back in November of last year because." Pretty much Vance said the same thing, and now
but he said it again in a more recent podcast.
He said it again, and now all the news medias are picking up on it, because when I did that article back in November, I only found it from Fox.
Right.
Now you can find this everywhere in mainstream media. So go ahead, Jim.
This is EW.com, Entertainment Weekly. And they say that Vice President Vance doesn't believe that ETs are aliens from outer space. He said, and I quote, "I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons."
Ooh.
Yeah. And the VP told conservative podcaster Benny Johnson, "When I came in, I was obsessed with the UFO files." And he said that he hasn't even looked at them, though, or even taken a peek because of the economy and national security and things like that. Vice President Vance, are you possibly fibbing just a little bit? Not that a politician would ever.
Just a little white lie.
Not that a politician would ever play fast and loose with the truth, but I find that a little hard to believe. He said, "I've already had a couple of times where I'm like, all right, we're going to Area 51. We're going out to New Mexico. We're going to sort of get to the bottom of this." But then he said the timing of the trip just didn't work out.
Or his boss said no. Or somebody told him, no.
"Trust me, anybody who's curious about this, I'm more curious than anybody. And I've got 3 years of the very tippy top of the classification. I'm going to get to the bottom of it." But yeah, he said he believes celestial beings who fly around and do weird things to people aren't necessarily ETs as we come to think about them. He goes on to say, "I think that the desire to describe everything celestial as otherworldly to describe as aliens, I mean, every great world religion, including Christianity, the one I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there, and there are things that are very difficult to explain." He goes on to say, he goes to the Christian understanding. And I like this quote because I've always liked this quote because I believe in this quote, actually. He said, "There's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there, and I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people he never existed." Vance explained, paraphrasing the usual suspect's verbal Kent, who's kind of maybe not such a nice guy either, Kevin Spacey, who played that role, but we'll not get into that. But the point is that he says he's going to get to the bottom of it. He's going to get to the bottom of it. So don't worry about everybody. Vice President Vance is going to get to the bottom of it. And
so
this
do
is
you
not,
agree?
Is he going to get to the bottom of it?
No. Do you agree that he's saying aliens are demons? Do you think they're demons?
I think that some could be demons. There could be an imposter factor, but I don't think that explains the whole phenomena. In other words, how's that go, that old philosophy? Not all this or that, but this, I forget the one. You know what I'm talking
I know what you're
about.
Talking about. Yeah.
So in other words, could
like
a
the
demon...
logic puzzle.
Yeah. Could a demon project itself as an alien? Yes, I believe that's totally true, and it's probably happened. Do I think everything people see that they perceive as aliens are demons? No, I personally do not.
Yeah,
and
I don't know why
think
that couldn't be like separate entities.
And I think if he says getting to the bottom of it, he might end up knowing the truth. And maybe I wouldn't be surprised if he already knows the truth. But he ain't going to tell us. Nobody's
I think it's just going to follow. No, they're not. It's just going to follow the same line that it's followed for how many presidents? I mean, you mentioned Jimmy Carter, George Bush. Don't hand me any, Trump knows. They all know. They're not telling.
They
and
know.
Like we reported before, they're going to throw some little crumbs and make everybody good boy. And it won't be anything that we don't already know or suspect anyway. We're not going to get the real information.
Maybe we're wrong.
We'll probably get more information from Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day movie than we would.
Bill Maher said that. Bill Maher mentioned that. He mentioned that that's, that's going to be a big moment. And I think it will be a big moment in the sense that it's going to heighten the awareness and people will be talking about it more.
It'll put more pressure.
I think from that standpoint, it will do a lot of good. Not that anything in the movie is going to reveal anything, but it'll bring.
Oh, what do we know?
It'll bring.
There's questions about what Spielberg knows, right, Jim? I mean,
yeah, I've heard that, but I think that's just speculation. Nobody really knows. But is he probably in a position to know more than the average person? I would think absolutely, with his money and resources, reputation, connections.
Didn't he have a good talk with Ronald Reagan way back in the day?
I believe that the story goes, and I don't know if this is true, but the story goes they screened E.T. at the White House, and Reagan said something at the end along the lines of, "This is more true than you realize." But then people say, "Oh, it was just a joke." And it's like...
Similar to what I said last week about the whole Bigfoot new movie coming out, which we had a story, but we don't have time for all of that. It was just a follow-up that the Bigfoot believing community... Well, the Bigfoot believing community is very upset about that new documentary that's coming out. And some people are saying it's AI and whatever. I don't know. But I'm saying this is the same thing. The people that know. Right? So the people that made the movie, they're the only ones that really know. The people, Spielberg, he's the only one that really knows what he knows, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's how you're going to get the
late Donald Rumsfeld, there are known knowns, there are known unknowns, and then there are unknown unknowns, things that we do not know that we do not know. I always love that quote. Anyway,
yes, I know. You do it all the time.
There are things that we do not know. And that is true if you think about that in life.
That's true.
That's the one that gets you. Not the things that you don't know. It's the things that you do not know that you do not know. It seems
Ignorance
like a dumb...
is bliss.
Yeah, it's like... And there's a lot of things we do not know.
There's a lot of bliss. No.
But there's a lot of bliss going around out there, particularly these days. So this last story actually sounds like it belonged in the first segment, but
it's so true.
It's true. It's true.
It's so true. This is so funny. I'm sorry. This was back at the end of February. More than 600 people watched the skies over Bath County in Kentucky as tiny bits of meat fell to the ground. 600 people. When the meat landed, all the people went down the hill of Tom Byron's property to get the meat. So it was the Kentucky Meat Shower Festival that commemorated the strange events of March 3rd, 1876 in the nearby Bath County Springs. So it was on the property of Mrs. Rebecca Crouch, and they don't know what fell, but they said it landed on her face back then in 1876.
Oh, Lord.
They are suspecting that it was like vulture vomit, like like vultures grabbed.
That's nice.
They did it. They did some DNA testing on it, and they said it was kind of inconclusive because it had a whole bunch of stuff. But they said, and it was also old. I mean, come on, it's like more than 100 some years old. They said it had goat. So they think that maybe a vulture grabbed a goat or goat meat, and then it like, kind of threw it up on her. But this meat drop wasn't like that. They dropped 1,876 mini meat sticks from a small plane. They were packaged in plastic, and it had the ends were like little helicopter blades, so it would kind of You know,
This
so
reminds me
nobody
of the
lost
turkey
an
drop
eye.
for WKRP. God is my witness. I thought turkeys could fly.
Could fly.
What a great episode. That's one of the great all-time sitcom episodes ever. You can find it, I think, on YouTube, probably unauthorized. But man, that is just a classic, the turkey drop.
Yes.
We actually have shirts for Thanksgiving dedicated to that.
Yes, we do. But yeah, so they have a whole festival. They had mystery meat concoctions and games like a bologna roll-off. And there was a Transylvania University professor, Kurt Gode, who believed that the final piece of meat, he brought it there so people could see it. It's just a small little chunk of meat. And then they have this... If you go to the article, it's Kentucky.com. There's a mannequin that portrayed Rebecca Crouch with her arm raised to the sky as if she was welcoming rather than dodging the chunk of meat. So they even have a children's book. Mick Sullivan wrote a book called The Meat Shower. It looks like it's a cute little book. But yeah, and it's just so people, they're Team Vulture vomit or not, so they don't know what it is. But
you just made me hungry. I just want to go to like a steakhouse.
We have meat sticks in the other room. You want some?
Or something. Well, I
have the meat sticks in the other room.
There you go.
There we go.
By the way, one thing I wanted to mention, because I don't think we did it. If we did, we'll do it again. The brain dead woman story that was from Unexplained Mysteries. Okay, thank you.
Unexplained-mysteries.com.
The goldfish was New York Post. I don't know if we mentioned that. I always like to give credit where credit is due. And
we got our astronaut one from livescience.com.
Yep.
So, and they'll all be in the show notes, so you can go through and read on your own.
Well, we think may a vulture not vomit on your face.
Ew, gross. Or any
I wish
bird
that
poop
if
on
I
your
wish
shoulder.
anything for you, I wish that a vulture does not vomit on your face.
Or
among other
bird poop.
Unpleasant things. Well, the other day I was walking Rambo, and we have a pond nearby, and there was some geese, and we got dive bombed. I thought that they were going to launch their ordnance towards us, but luckily they did not.
Well, I'll never forget when I was in 8th grade, I was on the bus and we were picking up people, to go to school in the morning. And the one girl was there standing, waiting for the bus. And she was standing there. And then right as the bus was coming to get her to stop, she ran back in the house and she left. We're like, we found out later that birds pooped all over her.
If you think about it.
That's so sad.
But it could happen. I mean, statistically.
Of course it can.
You think about it, I think almost everybody should almost have that experience. Not that they should, but you would think statistically, let's say you live to 70 years old, you walk outside the normal amount of time, eventually a bird's going to get you. I've never had it yet. Now I did when I was visiting Tampa for some training around 2000. I was at a Hampton Inn or something, and I had a really nice tray loaded up with all kinds of fruit and breakfast food and stuff. And I put it on the tray. I'm like, I forgot to get any utensils. So I walk back in, and there's like pigeons like swooping, eating all my food. They let me get more or whatever, but it was kind of funny. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Godspeed to the astronauts in their journey to the moon, and we'll be following that with great interest. And again, please check out our virtual campfire, virtualcampfiregroup.com. Check out, we have a book sale going on, Dar. Campfire 6 autographed, $14.99. We went a little crazy when we ordered the book, so we're trying to make some space in the spooky studio here. So we passed the savings on to you, $14.99 for a signed copy. Can't beat that with a stick. That is on the Etsy page only. It is not on Amazon. And then, of course, we encourage you to join our Plus Club, jimharold.com/plus, jimharold.com/plus, because that's literally what keeps the lights on in the spooky studio. Dar, what am I missing? What else would you like to add?
Nothing. I would just like to say, everyone have a great April Fools. Don't make the pranks too nasty. I don't like when people get nasty. I mean, you can have fun without being mean. You know what I mean? Like, some of these go overboard, you know? And in fact, wasn't there was a senior prank I just read about a few weeks ago. These high schoolers toilet papered their teacher's front yard, and he came outside to see, and I guess he kind of knew, but they ran him over and they killed him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 40 some years old. He left behind a wife and 2 kids. Don't take your pranks too far. Bad stuff can happen. Just kind of have mild fun. And also wanted to wish you all that celebrate a happy Easter. Have a great weekend.
Also, Passover's coming up, right?
Passover, yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Which I don't know why we don't all celebrate that too. But if you're Christian, at least.
Anyhow.
Judeo-Christian. That's another show. That's another rant for another show.
Happy holidays to all. And we thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you next time on The Paranormal Report. Now is the time to quote Sprockets when we dance.
Stay spooky.
Stay spooky.